few videos of the guy walking in through the lobby with suitcases. But when the police finally showed up, he was dead. But there was also a story about a guy who worked in the hotel, and this is supposedly legitimate, who like saw him first. Are you recording already?
Yeah, we're recording. We're just getting it going. We'll get back to this.
Okay.
Later, but alas, here we are, another glorious episode of The Tap. It's the state of the tap, and we have Jenny Callison back again.
Thank you.
Dubbed the Tap's Alex Jones, but better. but better.
Thank you.
I gotta say, and I mean that with like all joking aside, I mean that with all due respect in terms of just bringing light to things or saying things or just voicing your opinion. That people are like, oh my God, did she say that? Or it's not like the common, the narrative we're supposed to be believing in. So I appreciate you bringing some insight into the Tap. It's been a while since we last did this. The furniture's rearranged, got some new equipment. And
nice.
So
and like these microphones are very fancy.
We don't need to touch them. Here they are. Oh my God. Don't touch them. Don't touch them.
He's kind of serious.
No, I talked to the guy. I'm like, can I like hold him on the hands? He's like, oh no, you need. I mean, I think he probably swindled me. It's like, oh, you got to get the cage, you got to get the mic holder. Like, whatever, guy. I suppose they're heavy enough, but as long as we can hear the words, hear the voice, then we're good to go.
Yeah.
You've come back bearing news. You have insight. You have things to get off your chest. We had a little pre-podcast little powwow of some things to talk about. The world is as crazy as ever.
Yeah.
There's a new president since the last time we talked. I feel hopeful. Things are a little tumultuous.
Tumultuous. You got it. Yeah.
I feel good for that one. But my goodness, how are you feeling about just here, life, United States? It's 2025. We'll dive into more specific things like we talked about prior, but how you feeling?
I feel good.
Here in what is it, April 16th, day after taxes?
Yeah.
You do your taxes?
I did do my taxes.
And?
I do my taxes for free. I use Cash App, which it used to be Credit Karma. Mm-hmm. Credit Karma now does so it sounds fishy, but it's actually like very quick, very effective, and it's free.
All's good?
Yeah.
Do you email it in, or did you print it out and do it the old-fashioned way?
No, it was all on the app.
All on the app? You just take pictures of the W-2?
Take pictures of the W-2.
That's nice.
Did you do your taxes?
I went to Aunt Nance's house, did TurboTax, and she's there like anytime I'm freaking out, oh, what's this or that? I'll call her back like she's trying to watch the Giants game or something, and I'm just like, I'm so ignorant. She's like, how much you make this? Or how much do you pay monthly for your insurance? I'm like, I just pay it to get these assholes off my back.
Yeah.
And I should be more vigilant on my spending or what my fiscal. I should be more fiscally responsible, I should say.
It's hard these days because who knows what the price is going to be. Everything keeps getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I just paid over $5 for gas a few days ago.
$5?
Yeah.
Where at?
It was at the Chevron in Dixon, which I don't usually go to Chevron. It was just the closest, and I needed to get it. But yeah, it hurt.
Fun. That must have been great. You
Yeah.
don't get a hot dog or anything inside the... No, just took it. You've taken enough of my money. You're not getting the rest of it.
Yes, but speaking of taxes and money, I am excited about the tariffs.
The tariff people are it seems like people are divided. I don't know economics that well. People are happy about it. Like, the United States, we're fronting the bill for so many people. But what's your take on the tariffs and all that?
Yeah, so the two reasons I'm excited are it should revitalize the local economy here in the United States. So we can start buying microphones and things, hopefully, that are made in the United States from United States materials, help United States citizens get more work who are underemployed or unemployed. The other reason I'm excited about tariffs is it's going to put more money into our pockets. And
I like that.
Before 1911, before we entered into World War I, we didn't have an income tax. We only had tariffs. We had roads, we had buildings, we had public works, we had sewage systems, so we were able to provide an economy, provide for the communities with just tariffs, no income tax. So I do hope to go back to that. I actually just shared a meme today that said,
oh, really?
I hope World War I ends soon so they can get rid of these temporary income taxes.
So the tariffs as they are today, some people are upset. Oh my God, he just tariffed the shit out of people out the gate.
Wow.
I don't know how it's supposed to work, but given how kind of like the downward trend of like markets and money, everybody's freaking out. A lot of like people on the left, oh, see what's happening, it's all burning. How long do you think this will take for things to kind of regulate, for tariffs to take effect and hopefully be the benefit that we've been told they are?
Yeah, that's a good question, and a lot of people have that question because nobody really knows except for.
I want it now. I want economic sustainability now.
Yeah,
yesterday.
So the fear mongering is real though, and it's a lot of the anti-Trump narrative of we need to say everything he's doing is the worst thing ever, so people continue to dislike him, so that the next candidate will win against him. So the tariffs, I see as what he's actually done so far is he's threatened tariffs, and he has said, if you continue to have these tariffs against us, so we'll have zero tariffs against a country. Meanwhile, they're tariffing us 60, 100, 200%. So
our allies, there's some allies, oh, we shouldn't do this, or we're taking away American products.
Allies.
So why was that? And that's the first I've heard of how much we're paying in tariffs. Why is that not like kind of a mainstream? Don't you think that would like ruffle feathers, and ruffled feathers equals views and money?
I would say that the Make America Great Again narrative is necessary because the past few, I don't know how many administrations have not worked for the American people.
Right.
And so this is actually somebody who's saying, I don't care about what the corporations say. I don't care about what the elites or the banks say. The banks who Obama bailed out during the recession.
A couple $1 trillion there.
Insane. I could go on about the bank system, about the Rothschilds, about the theft, about how interest is a crime, and I think it's a sin, and I think it's just immoral. You're stealing somebody's wealth for what? For allowing the transfer of goods and services. That's it.
To keep the buck turning.
You have done nothing except allowed that transfer, and then you're charging 25% or more. A lot of active duty military suffer from that, especially the young ones, because right around all the military bases are like used car dealerships. They'll sell your car.
I was just going to say, my buddy, ex-Marine Yvonne Martinez, said, oh yeah, a lot of the Marines, like you're in San Diego, first thing you get when you get your first paycheck, I'm going to go get a Dodge Challenger or like a supercharged something wild. And you're like, I can't afford this, but they're going to sell it to you anyway. It's like, well, your affordability, your budget's not my concern. My concern is selling you this goddamn car.
And the sad thing is a lot of them are veterans.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. How many pro athletes end up bankrupt because they don't know any better. At the same time, you have the freedom to buy whatever you want, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how many microphones or shit. What else? Silly stuff I have. Lego sets. Dollar store. I got that Luke Skywalker kind of X-wing mech suit. If I was wealthy enough and we had mech suits, I'd absolutely get one and just fly around blowing shit up. That's just anime me.
If you could go to like Star Wars Day as any character, what character would it be?
Star Wars Day?
Yeah, so like Star Wars Day at the River Cats game.
Oh,
or at the Giants game.
Man,
you dress up as a character.
I mean, I do love Boba Fett. He's got the helmet on, like he's solid, but maybe Darth Maul. Little like he has the black and red face paint. He's got the horns on top. I thought he's like my favorite bad guy in Star Wars.
I have a friend who said the Stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers? That'd be fun.
Yeah, he said everybody would want to get a picture with him.
Yeah. Are you a Star Wars nerd at all?
A little bit. I have watched them all, but not a fan of the new stuff.
They're renowned for how horrible they are.
Yes. So I think I would be Chewbacca just because I like the whole like. No, you do it better than I do.
You do Chewbacca or something like that. Oh, was the Empire so bad? I mean, they're just trying to bring stability into the world, and under the Jedi, they go to Tatooine. They find Anakin, who becomes Vader, but slavery's okay there in the world where the Jedi are in charge. Just saying, is the Empire so bad? What's going on? I mean, maybe they did destroy a few planets, but you gotta send a message every once in a while, right?
You do need to send a message.
They always go to the desert planet, start wars. I digress. Tariffs and stuff. Do you think within Trump's term that we'll see things shift? Fiscally?
Oh yes. I think by next year. I'm hoping by next year we'll see a lot of tax breaks. so everyone will get more money in their pockets at tax day, or get to not have to pay so much if they pay. I do have hope, but I think because we live in California, we might be the very last people.
Oh, for sure, we're getting
see
boned.
it. Yeah.
In terms of war in Ukraine has been a huge there's so much there's allocated money that's not accounted for. Like where this couple billion, a couple billion is not just, what a silly intern goof. I don't know where these like $5 billion or whatever the number is. There's so much money going over there. If we pull out of that and to get some sort of equilibrium over there, that's got to help fiscally, right? For all of us paying for this war?
Yes. Reducing the amount that we spend on the wars, the overseas wars, and the military industrial complex overall would be a huge relief.
You have mixed feelings about that, given you as a veteran, it just, the soldiers in there, that's, you guys represent, for me at least, what like defending your country is. Like there's tried and true like reasons to get in there. There's some turds that get in just to usurp the benefits and the power, what have you. But it just seems like those in charge, those China turning the military industrial complex wheel, are just using. Seems like using soldiers. It's just just cannon fodder to get money.
Yes. Yeah. The whole Afghanistan war, I think, was all about opium. They are one of the only 3 countries in the whole world that produce opium. They were the #1 exporter of opium during the entire Afghanistan war.
Right.
And then the opioid epidemic happened a few years after we invaded their country and decided to stay there.
There's that. I mean, opium was a big deal, or was it heroin in Vietnam? Because that, I'm not putting it past our government to pull the most fucked up and in like unimaginable horror to like how many families were ruined because of Vietnam. Not just here, but like over there.
Yeah, and they did give soldiers heroin when they were over there, so that's why they came back addicted to heroin. Yes. As
like a coping mechanism when they were on the front line, or just get out there, get high, and
I think it was just to sell heroin. I honestly think that this whole thing is just to sell drugs for the pharmaceutical companies. And as a veteran, it's freaking insane that like I'm just now coming to this realization, but also why did we go to Iraq? Like why did any of these wars happen? It's all people lying to us for money.
Lying and using other people's lives.
Ukraine is so transparent to me now because a year after the Afghanistan withdrawal, all of the people in Congress are waving Ukrainian flags, passing a budget bill to start funding the Ukraine war.
So might I ask you, to what end and to what purpose are we giving them fiscal assistance? I understand, it's the narrative, smaller country getting bullied by big Russia, and like that's all we need to think about and say about, but there's more to the story. I mean,
there's a lot more to the story.
There's so much there.
I will Alex Jones you right now, actually. So the CIA was involved in a 2013 coup in Ukraine.
Right.
We overturned their government in Ukraine to put in place somebody we could control. 2014, Hunter Biden gets involved with Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. He starts funneling. It's all money laundering. It is all money laundering.
And Biden is vice president at this time.
So he is using his dad's influence where he's caught on tape telling Chinese officials, are you going to do this? You know, the big man talking about his dad will be unhappy if you don't do this. So yes, he 1,000% used his dad's position and his dad enabled it. His dad was totally cool with this little, I mean, that's what his whole presidency was people stealing money from the Americans to enrich themselves and their friends. That's what Congress does with all their stock trading. But Ukraine specifically, Zelensky was an actor. He was a comedian who played the president on TV.
Then he becomes president.
Yes, not because of anything. His term ended last year, but he called off all of the elections because they're at war.
Right.
So they shouldn't do elections. People don't want him to be president in Ukraine.
Would it have put people's lives in danger? How would they be? I don't know enough. Thinking about Ukraine right now just seems like a big pile of rubble. Like there's been so much devastation, not only like the people, resources, their infrastructure. Would it have been too dangerous to have? I'm not saying extend your term by any means. But would it have put people's lives in danger to go out and vote? Could they have done it electronically? Why?
I like where you're coming from because you're still giving them some benefit of the doubt that I don't. I see them all as just like they're evil and they're stealing from us and they're letting their own people die to do it. Elon Musk talked about this. So there was an interview on Fox News by, I think it was Brett Baer, and he had 6 or 7 of the Doge team that they were interviewing. And at the very end, it was just Brett Baer and Elon. So the Doge team, they're like some of them are billionaires who are donating their time and money and staff to try to solve these problems, to try to find the waste, fraud, and abuse and end it. So at the very end, Elon Musk talks about the war. And what we've done is we've antagonized Russia.
Yes.
Through NATO. Through NATO, we antagonized Russia. We put biolabs in Russia, in Ukraine, along the Russian border. And then Kamala Harris, as vice president, went to the NATO summit and said, which is pretty much a provocation to war, that they are going to let Ukraine join NATO shortly or soon.
And that was the hard line in the sand. Don't do this. Don't do it.
We had already violated many things in the NATO treaty that we shouldn't have. And as NATO, we already let other neighboring countries join NATO, which we said we wouldn't.
But we have. But we did.
So we're breaking promises and then acting like Russia's the bad guy. The Nord Stream pipeline, which was going to help take gas from Russia to Germany to the rest of Europe,
blew up.
The U.S. government blew it up.
Is it a cover up or is that a bona fide? Like that's a fact that
it's a fact that the U.S. government did it. It is a cover up at first, and they were like, "Oh, was it Russia who did it? Like, why would Russia blow up their own pipeline?" You know, oh, well, then
Putin's
Putin.
I mean, he is a wild son of a bitch. I mean,
I think it's all fake. Like, I think it's a fake fear mongering to say, like, Putin's not Lenin. He's not Stalin. Stalin and Lenin killed hundreds of thousands of millions of people through starvation, through torture, through communist authoritarian policies. Putin's not an authoritarian. Yes, their government's slightly different than ours, but I mean, look at what we're living under.
Would you say he's murdered people though for political means?
I mean, Putin worked for the KGB.
Yeah.
But so did George H.W. Bush.
For the KGB?
For the CIA.
Sorry. Sorry. The equivalent. Sorry. I mean,
for the U.S. equivalent.
I just feel like it's all.
Did George H.W. Bush kill Kennedy? Was he in Dallas?
Johnson, wasn't it? No, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson took over. No, so George H.W. Bush, the day that Kennedy was killed, he was in Dallas. Can't remember where he was.
Really?
And then,
the 60s was a wild time. I mean, he might have had some acid or something like that. You never know. But still, it's
Ukraine.
Conspicuous. Oh yeah, Ukraine.
Sorry, I did want to mention one other thing, which is that there's a woman named Maria Abramovich who's a Satanist. I think I might have told you a little bit about her. She's an occult cooker. She's a spirit cooker.
Spirit cooker, you say?
So she's actually in some of the Podesta emails.
What's that?
John Podesta is a guy that's worked for Hillary Clinton for a long time.
She's a saint. Hill dog.
Hillary is a saint, and she definitely did not steal any funds from Haiti recovery through the Clinton Foundation or use it to help traffic children. She did. Yeah.
Wow. So, but where did you hear this, or where did you? Because I'm just playing devil's advocate.
So the Clinton Foundation was put in charge of the Haiti recovery after the earthquake in 2008, I believe, maybe 2010. They were put in charge of it. And then all of a sudden we have freaking cannibals in Haiti taking over the Haitian government. They didn't use that money to recover it. They didn't use the money.
Nothing.
Billions of dollars went towards Haiti recovery from countries around the world, billionaires around the world. And the Clinton Foundation, now Haiti's an S show. So, like, the evidence shows that the money did not go to revitalize the Haitian community or rebuild after the earthquake.
The country is not thriving.
No.
And not to say that, like, say there was a rebuilding or some vestige of, like, the aid, like, showing that it was given, like, with water or houses being
No, I'm
rebuilt
sure
or
they
whatever.
they got people who they know to produce goods, so then they can use some of the money to pay their friends and.
But it went to the Clintons big time. So I just don't understand how these are Congress people. Like Hillary, she was in Congress or the Senate. What's her?
She was in the Senate, and then she was appointed under Obama as Secretary of State, which
Right.
is Secretary of State is an international role that presides over all of the U.S. embassies in every single country.
Given their paychecks not small, but it's say hefty, 6 figures at least. How are these people, including say Nancy Pelosi, how are these multi-millionaires when their paycheck should only be 6 figures? Not to say that they can't do things, get additional, the additional source of income. You know, she can work at the bowling alley or something like that in DC. How are these people leaving their position multi-millionaires?
A lot of them benefit from the stock market because we allow our Congress members and, all the elected officials and appointed officials to trade stock in areas that they preside over. And they do. Nancy Pelosi definitely did. And when questioned by a reporter, she said, "What's wrong with that? What? You can't say that I did it because I knew anything about it." So their method is plausible deniability, I guess, and legal, even if it's unethical. It's insane. No,
Why don't I just do what she did? Can I follow her exact moves in the stock market and become a millionaire too?
There is a few Twitter accounts that follow her, and they have a Pelosi stock trader, and I think there was somebody who did that.
And
she has a more successful stock trading record than Warren Buffett. So I think I don't know
she's
if
that
guy,
good. You know, some people are just multifaceted, Jenny. I think you're just a hater.
I am. I'm jealous of Nancy Pelosi's prowess.
Do you think these people are aware of their absolute corruption? I mean, on all sides of the political spectrum. There's pieces of shit all over the place. These people are benefiting, say like Clinton, we're talking about the Clinton Foundation, these people siphoning money. Are they acutely aware of just how corrupt and evil they are objectively, or this is like, you know what, I'm just doing it, nobody can stop me, this is who I am? They probably don't see themselves as evil or doing evil. Maybe they just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that it's like they probably, in most cases, it's slow ethical slips over time. Like you slowly let okay, I'll do this, and then it becomes expected. And then it becomes, I'm not going to pass this policy unless you want to pay me a bunch of money.
And they can get away with it. And it's got to be addicting. You're like, oh, I just made $600,000 by attending this nonprofit or like sponsoring this nonprofit. Something to that.
Money really is evil. Like, I feel like we could just talk about money and dark money this whole entire episode, because I was just talking to my friends yesterday about George Soros. They didn't know who he was. George Soros is a Greek billionaire who he fled because he was Jewish at the time, like in the 1930s. So his family fled.
Right.
And he has done a lot of things with his money around the world where he's used it in countries in ways that tear up their culture, tear up their economy. They don't want him back in their country. Here in the United States.
What has he done here?
He is the one who has funded a lot of the district attorneys around the country. A lot of these district attorney races, like in, I think, George Gascon. I just want to keep talking about it anyway, even if it's not on the podcast.
Big, meaty claws!
Yeah. Dude, I like the cat, but like, just come chill with me and I'll pet you.
I thought she would, but she's just yelling. Let's make the show about her. It's not. It's about me. It's about the guests, obviously.
No, it's about you.
So homeboy is to what end? To what end is he like poisoning the well of like our culture and civilization and just causing all this disruption and madness?
Yeah, the district attorneys that he's funding are they're not sentencing people. They're not charging criminals with crimes.
Right.
The cops will arrest somebody for breaking the law, something heinous like attempted murder. And the DA will say, oh, okay, I'm going to do nothing or let them out on bail for $1,000. And another crazy thing that's happened, which actually isn't, it's somewhat George Soros related, is that in California, you go into the prison of the gender that you identify with.
That's dangerous. And
Women
there's been
a lot of rapes. A lot of rapes. I'm sorry to say that word on the podcast.
But we can't shy away from it. It's like saying, not trying to like make light of it, like Voldemort, you know, oh, we shouldn't say it or whatever, but it's like to say it and like give what happened to these women. The criminals, sure, but like they don't deserve to be raped. Nobody deserves that.
Nobody.
And it's like, I mean, the rapist maybe. I don't know. I mean, who am I to suss it out? But
that
it's like
an eye for an eye.
Are these instances not enough to overturn? Like, this is madness. What's going on here?
And it was passed in 2020 when everybody was staying home and paying attention to COVID, so people weren't paying attention to the legislation going on. Hopefully, I think there is a bill in the pipeline this session that would overturn it.
Right.
We do have a super majority Democrats in the legislature. So the Democrat Party would have to say, you know, oh, actually, we shouldn't allow men into women's prisons because actually it violates Geneva Convention to not have men in female spaces. So to allow men into female spaces in a prison is a violation of the Geneva Convention, but supposedly not a violation of human rights here in California.
Right.
It's insane. So there is a bill. I am hopeful that with enough awareness that they will be able to pass it and somehow get this overturned, because it's not only the prisoners. The prisoners didn't get convicted and then rape as their punishment. They got prison time as their punishment. We don't sentence people to rape. So we should never allow that in our prisons.
Is it like straight up guys that say like
there's no burden
Billy
of proof.
Joe? Oh yeah, I got these tattoos all over his face. Whatever. Like, oh, I'm a chick. I'm gonna go to like with no hair, no like clearly not a trans person. Like I'm about people like live your life, do you? But it's like you're a biological male going into a female prison. Like that's clearly this is happening.
Yes.
The rapes, like who knows what else? Murders, beatings. Not to say that doesn't happen within the confines of male and female, like that goes on all the time.
Yes.
But this just seems particularly heinous. And is it like a form of virtue signaling that these are passing?
It is.
Like Newsom's law of like, oh, anything under $1,000 or whatever it was, you won't be convicted for it. It's just a misdemeanor. I'm like, how is that a deterrent? And how is this helping? How is it helping in general? How is it helping not punishing crime? I mean, crime's gone up. I can understand trying new things, but this just seemed foolhardy from the very beginning, and it's only served to hurt store owners, small business owners.
Yeah, and they did have a proposition on the most recent ballot that overturned that. So now we are punishing those crimes. And I have watched a few videos of Orange County where they'll arrest somebody and they'll be like, why are you taking me to jail? Why aren't you just writing me a ticket? And they're like, this is Orange County. And so they'll be sitting there in prison with their hands behind, or in jail with their hands behind their back saying, take me to Los Angeles County. I'll say, you didn't commit the crime in Los Angeles.
No, you didn't.
So, you know, depending on the sheriff, you know, they enforce it how they enforce it. But yes, the law did change, thankfully. And that was the most popular proposition this go around because so many voters are aware of the consequences.
Absolutely.
Even if the legislators aren't.
It's like whatever shiesty bullshit you're trying to pull, you're not. I think this last election, it really showed where people are just sick of just like the radical ideology coming through the pipeline. At least like I'll speak for myself. There, a lot of people, I don't think they voted for Trump, but against this wave of insanity and like Tim Walz wanting tampons in little boys' rooms and stuff. I'm like, I can understand. We're all different, but where are boys supposed to put those tampons? Where are they supposed to stick that? Yeah. Tell me exactly where they're supposed to stick that. It just seems so wild. I can understand trying to help kids discover who they are along the way. Let life happen a little bit. Let puberty happen a little bit, and then guide them and help them. And if they are different, if they're gay or whatever, or maybe they just have no preference whatsoever, just help them along the way instead of forcing. Like at 6 years old, you need to figure out who you are sexually right here and now. And I'm like, these humans that you're convincing still believe in Santa Claus. So it's like, come on now.
I have a very like solid stance on this, that I believe anytime you talk to a child that's not your child about any of that stuff, it is grooming pedophilic behavior. If a child comes up to me, I coached junior giants baseball for 9 years, 10 to 14 year olds. They didn't really talk to me about, hey, I have a problem with my wiener or my vagina, or hey, I feel like this. But if they had said, oh, hey, I like this person, what should I do about it? Go talk to your mom and dad. I don't want to, that's not my role as your baseball coach. I'm here to coach baseball. As your English teacher, you should be there to coach English or teach English. You shouldn't answer questions that you don't know anything about, and it's not your area to say, and you're not that kid's parent.
You're not.
And for an adult to talk to your kid about sexual stuff that you haven't talked to them about, is that not grooming pedophilic behavior?
It's a gross overreach. I don't know if they're seeing it as that way, but it's a gross overstepping. Yeah.
It's disgusting. And saying, oh, well, he's a gay boy. Don't sexualize children. I don't care what he says he is. To me, he's a boy that is just as deserving of the same treatment that I would give any other person. I'm not going to sexualize him. I'm not going to treat him differently. But by saying he's a gay boy, you're treating him differently. By classifying that girl as a transgender boy, you're treating her differently. And then we get people who work in schools who then pressure them to, oh, well, if you go on to this Trevor Project, the Trevor Project is something they're putting into schools, and it is a transgender nonprofit that encourages children to identify as transgender. They don't say that. No, they don't say our goal is to, but it's a social contagion. And that's why in UC Davis, I think I might have said that out of 35,000 students at UC Davis, over 1,300 identify as transgender.
How is that possible, though, statistically, when there are, in the entire United States, a couple 100,000 like true trans individuals, but it's receiving such national attention, renown? It's like it is polarizing, and that's why news stations are always going to talk about it, because people get pissed off.
No, and it's something that we've let infiltrate. I would definitely say that we have let it infiltrate our systems, where now I just took a sexual harassment training for the California Senate. And in the sexual harassment training, they said that I need to call people by the pronouns that they identify by. So they're policing my speech for something that I think is so bogus, because ultimately being transgender is not a thing. There is nothing you can do to your body to become a female. There's nothing I can do to my body to become a male. I can do a lot of things to appear as a male. I can go work in a male-dominated field. I can dress differently. I can cut my hair differently. But what they're doing is they're encouraging young girls to use part of their arm skin or use part of their thigh skin and fashion it into a fake penis.
That doesn't work.
No.
It can't work.
They supposedly attach some nerves, so maybe they get some filling. Well, can you even imagine what a surgically constructed fake vagina looks like? And then it somehow, in a lot of cases,
sounds sticky,
gets attached to the colon, so then it smells like poop. So then you have some fake vagina that's oozing all the time that closes up, and then it smells like poop. That's what is happening. And because in California we are insane, they passed a law since 2020 to allow children at 12 years old and older to get medical treatment without their parents' consent. So now the doctor will ask a 12-year-old.
And that's horrifying to me, like to have parents not be involved in every aspect of their child's upbringing.
And the doctor will write them prescriptions and they will diagnose them. And then imagine that you're a parent who takes your kid to the doctor and the doctor is like, oh, do you think you might be a trans male, to your daughter? And then you say, actually, no, she's my daughter. And the doctor reports you to CPS for not affirming your child's gender identity. And then because of California state law, that includes affirmation of your child's gender identity into the criteria for being a fit parent, the judge can take your daughter away from you.
Has that happened?
That has happened in other states. That's happened in California. In California, they medically transitioned the child from another state whose mom brought, I think it was him, here. And the dad's like, no way. The court said she can do it.
It's just frightening to see. I'm about people like living their human experience and whatnot. Maybe they make mistakes. There needs to be a lot of therapy. If someone wants to transition, have there be a ton of Kit Kat. There she is. Aww, have there be a ton, like some therapy.
She have green eyes.
And like, yeah. And Sonny has yellow ones. Where was I going with this? It's just there should be a lot. At least get to 18 before anything big happens. But a 12-year-old. I mean, at 12, I was a Power Ranger. Still am in some ways, but it's like recently. It's like I was at Davis Wonder Bar, hanging out with some friends or whatever, and just like mingling, and we just happened upon this older lady and her friend, just a heftier, bigger. Outside, I was like, okay, a lesbian lady, or whatever, but I forget what she identified as a male. I'm like, all right, it's a little weird, but we're just like shooting the shit and just having a conversation, and it wasn't something that was imposed or like, oh, I need to refer to you, say Billy. That's not the name that was used, but I'll just say I did not. Oh, hey, her, whatever. It was just like, all right, it's bizarre, but I was able to coexist, have a conversation with a person. It just seems as if so much of it is like this arrogant, holier than thou. F everything you think or believe. This is the way it is. If there's a little more, say, levity or an open-mindedness or, say, empathy towards a different point of view, like, all right, say, hey, we understand that you feel this type of way. This is kind of what your kid's saying. Let's find a solution or steps forward together, given how your child thinks and feels about themselves. Instead of, Big Brother knows best, we're going to hide awareness from parents or anything like it. It seems to be there needs to be transparency, some transparency.
I love that.
Would that be something, I guess, that would be you'd be able to jive with if this is the way people are thinking and feeling? More openness or compassion, I guess, towards how you feel. And like I would say, by and large, a lot of people are like, this is fucking wild, this is weird. But it just doesn't seem like there's any compassion towards people who don't jive with this.
That's a really, really good pickup, Aaron, is that exactly is what the problem is with this government, and what the policymakers are doing is they have zero empathy and compassion for the parents who disagree. Scott Wiener, who passed the men and women's prison bill, who passed the 12 years old to consent to medical care bill, who passed a lot of very disgusting laws that are harming our children in our state, out of San Francisco. I'm losing my point because I'm just thinking of all the terrible things that he has done. He has no children. He went on camera talking about this bill that would ensure it. They wanted to say if a child is identifying as an opposite gender, school staff cannot tell the parent. No parental notification.
That is heinous.
And he went on camera and he said, these are our children, to the freaking camera. Like,
no, sir. No.
They are not your children. You have no children. And I don't think you're going to have children because you have sex with men. So you can't.
Scott Wiener. Of course,
Unless
his last name's Wiener. But
Yes.
Where's I going to go with this? It's like, it's such a gross overreach of the government to take hold of kids or to decide this is how the parenting is going to be. Hold on, I had my point. Bear with me. Fuck, I lost it.
You were talking about empathy for the parents and the people who disagree with it.
It's about the kids or the parenting. God damn it! Do some edit out this little. I had it. It was at the tip of my tongue.
I'll just text you. Edit around minute 40.
Yeah, there we go. Phone. No, it's just infuriating to see that like again, the gross overreach of the government. I got it.
Okay.
There's a clear distinction of like, say a kid is gay. They know they're gay. They're a teen, and like, but the parents will abuse them or beat the shit out of them, verbally abuse them, what have you. Like, if they're trying to save a kid from being shunned from their parents, like that sucks on the parents. Like, I'm not a parent, but I would want to love my kid and be like, all right, like I'm here, I'm with you. I don't agree with some of the things, but if they're trying to protect a kid from getting shunned from their parents, like they're going about it completely the wrong way. And it's like that. Those instances, I'm not sure how often they happen where a parent, oh, my son's gay. Well, fuck you. Get out of this house. I disown you. That's horrible. And that's, a kid just trying to be themselves, trying to figure it out. That would suck. But I don't think the lengths that they're going to prevent that are really helping any.
Yeah. I think they use it as an excuse. And I do, because it's true that, like you said, it does probably happen. I don't know either how often, but I do think they use that to then say it happens in every case. So we need a safeguard against it happening in every case. And that's not accurate. And it is an overreach. Like, the Constitution does not grant the government the right to tell my child what gender they are and then to take them away from me if I don't agree with that. The Constitution does not say that. So
that's not abuse. That's something that you and the children, the parents, need to work through, need to talk about and be about.
Yeah.
And be very proactive, not keep them in the dark.
Yeah. So since the last podcast that we had, there was the Moms for Liberty meeting in the Winters Library.
Yeah.
And Beth Bourne, who's the mom of a daughter who is
at Davis. Yeah, she was causing a stink at those school board meetings.
Yes.
She's going hard.
Because her daughter was told by her school counselor that she was a trans male. So for 2 years, her daughter identified as a boy, cut her hair like a boy, dressed like a boy.
Right.
A lot of her friends were also identifying as trans males. So that's where the social contagion thing comes in. It's happening in clusters. Like, that's just what the data shows.
They were blackballing her, and really just the other parents or individuals that were there, like yelling or kind of scoffing, like, oh, you're out of your effing mind. She was very fervent in the way she went about it. Very, I would say aggro, but I don't know, in that area, she was a little aggro with it. But could you, before we go more into this, what is the Moms for Liberty?
Moms for Liberty, they're an international group that I think started in Virginia, and I want to say they're for medical freedom and parental rights. I'm not sure if they got started for vaccines or for the COVID masking thing or for I think it might have been medical freedom.
Okay.
But they cover things. So they have different chapters. Beth Bourne is the president of the Yolo County Moms for Liberty chapter. I first met her because I just was against masking kids in school. And so I started going to some local meetings. And she had never been to Winters. She knew a little bit about the Winters
the hell
policies.
She never been to Winters.
So she was like, well, I'd love to come talk to you. She ends up setting up a meeting in the Winters Library just to inform parents. I'm a moderator of a group of Winters parents that were against the mask mandates. So I spread the message in that group. Somebody else in town found out about the Moms for Liberty meeting and advertised it to a group in Davis that then invited people. They had a sign-up sheet online to go counter-protest the Moms for Liberty meeting in the
library or outside?
Inside. So
are they just yelling while you guys are trying to talk?
They did what they call a silent protest, where you come and you don't pay attention, so you read a book. Some people had their chairs turned around, but there were still some people walking around with signs and yelling at people and shouting people down and interrupting. The chief of police was there for the meeting, as well as Crystal Apolato from the Winners Express. I would say the room was about 75% counter protesters or protesters who were doing the silent protest, and only 25% Winters people.
Right.
A lot of them came from Davis and Sacramento.
Why not?
Moms for Liberty meeting, mom said that they recognized a lot of them.
Are you vilified as this terrorist group? Potential female Klan members? Like what is what's the light they're shining on you? They
want to protect trans kids. That's their thing. So some of them, I think, are very nice people who think, well, if I was a child and I felt like people didn't get me, like I was a child and I felt like people didn't get me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want to be protected by an adult. So they come from a place of love and caring and compassion.
Right.
But I think there are also just some bad actors out there as well.
Absolutely.
Who lie and spread things like, if you don't affirm your child's identity, then they are more likely to commit suicide. So even if you don't agree with it, you need to affirm your child's identity. Meanwhile, the data actually doesn't show that.
It doesn't show the inverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what it shows is the more that a child starts to medically transition, the more likely they are to commit suicide, because a medical transition is entirely a lie. It is entirely a lie. They say, once you do this, you start to appear as this, all of your mental health stuff or whatever you're dealing with will be, that'll get rid of it. It'll be, and then they're like, no, now I have facial hair, even though I'm a girl.
Right.
And I'm still sad. I still don't know how to emotionally regulate. What I should have done is gone outside for a walk once a day and gotten some sunshine and called my friends every day. You know, like the medical community does not care about us. They care about profit. And so we need to do the things ourselves of like get sunshine, but they don't tell the kids that. So Beth Bourne was there because, you know, her daughter had been told by her school counselor that she was a trans male. She believed it. She identified as that. Beth Bourne would not affirm her child's gender identity. She said, this is my daughter. I'm going to keep calling her my daughter. So the Davis community and the LGBT community vilified her.
They got on her ass.
So when you say she's aggressive or aggro, like, yes, she's passionate. She comes off as crazy because it's crazy that she sent her daughter to school and they're telling her daughter that she's a boy.
Wasn't trying to like insult her in such a way, but like she was like fire and brimstone. Like she was fired up.
Yes. And it's like, if you were in her place, there is no empathy for her. You have empathy for her.
Literally nothing.
I have empathy for her. So that's why I can see I would be crazy too.
Well, people weren't like truly listening to what she was saying at the board meetings of like, hey, like give these kids a chance like to grow. Maybe they're just like, she did say like, maybe they're just gay boys or like lesbians, whatever. Like just, it could turn out that way. I think she was, from what I picked up, was just very much against the children having to like be about it. The children having to make that decision. I literally saw a 6-7-year-old kid with mask on, pride flag draped around their shoulders, saying, I'm a trans kid. I deserve to have affirmation. You deserve to be loved, absolutely, but I'm listening to somebody regurgitate what their parents are telling them at home. And that's like again, not a parent. It's just how often are kids, how easily manipulated are kids or susceptible are they to ideas or beliefs that your parents have? I mean, I know I share a lot of my values with my mom and dad because that was just the norm at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like listening to this, I'm like, child, you do not know what you're talking about. Maybe hit puberty, and then after puberty, perhaps go into high school, go to college, have sex, discover more about yourself, let life be a teacher. And at least 18 before there's any talks or any sort of medical interventions or anything like that. Even prior to that, talk to a therapist. Talk to someone who's transitioned. Talk to someone who's detransitioned. Get all the facts. At least that, for me, exhaust every resource before you make this life-altering decision. And I don't know. Maybe there's some people that don't get the surgery but still identify as trans. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are people. Caitlyn Jenner might still have her penis. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, with that many gold medals, you know there's some balls down there.
Yeah.
No,
I wonder. So here's another Alex Jones series.
Please.
Like, what's up with the Kardashian family? Because like every guy that they marry ends up being super crazy.
They're freaking out. It's some of the water. The mom's the worst of them. The mom's the worst. However, I know I'm gossiping about the
You mean the mom who released her daughter's sex tape so her daughter could become famous?
That mom
she's not
there.
A good,
No, not a good human being. However, I heard Kim has helped quite a bit when it comes to like giving inmates a second chance or like helping out in a way with prisons and stuff. I'm like, I want to hate you because of the cultural poisoning of like teenagers growing up thinking this is what I'm supposed to look like and aspire to be, what have you. I'm sure a certain amount of it was an act, what have you, but they still perpetuated this sheer vanity, idolizing vanity and status.
The body modification surgeries that have happened since they've become famous are like, we didn't used to see girls get surgeries like they do now.
Big old butts. I mean, hey, I was a fan of that video, damn it. She's a classically trained adult film actress. Damn it. Did you ever see the video with her and Ray J? No.
No.
It's not that good. Grainy, terrible acting. Where's the dialogue? There's no chemistry.
So you think of the succubi. You know what the succubus? Yeah. That's what the conspiracy of the Kardashians is. Or like a siren.
Don't they kill you? Oh, they lure you in for sure.
They lure you in, and then they steal your money and take your fame, and then they become more famous and more, beautiful. And look at Khloe Kardashian.
She is completely
transformed.
She was like wholesome, homely looking, but I mean, compared to your sisters, I guess.
I mean, both of those actually, that and the transgender body thing are like outside forces who make money off of it, telling you your body will be okay with this when we really need to just get comfortable in our bodies. Like it's hard enough to get comfortable in my body without having like more facial hair and having all these weird stuff going on, or having to deal with taking testosterone shots every day. Like that's insane.
Take shots, like to have to like inject yourself and whatnot. You mind if we pause for a second?
Yeah.
My bladder's the size.
No, yeah, I need to, yeah.
You use the restroom?
China.
It hit the mic a little bit, so I was like, no.
It's okay.
I'm gonna have to touch it.
Touch it a little bit. It's fine. Oh no, we're good. My goodness. Whoa, look at the audio levels. Look at us go. But
is that very loud?
No, I think we're chilling. Just a little more. I've been drinking this Topo Chico, getting all excited.
I don't know. So they're from Monterrey, Mexico, which but I think the minerals are something that we're lacking. Mm-hmm. I actually just started taking athletic greens.
And
I like it. I have been like noticing myself being more active.
Smoothies or like what are
it's just athletic greens are a mixture of all the daily vitamins and minerals you need throughout the day, including probiotics. So you keep it in the fridge, and then you just do 1 scoop of green powder into 8 to 12 ounces of water,
and you're good to go.
Yeah. My sister said let it sit for like 10 to 20 minutes so that I think probiotics can like activate or something.
It's just science a little bit. Very good.
It's cool.
Janae or Kayleen?
Kayleen.
I can't believe that. No. In that case, Janae, I'll believe it. Kayleen, no. You had some stuff you wanted to chat about earlier in a little pre-pod powwow.
Yeah.
One of the subjects.
RFK Jr. recently announced autism rates. And then, what were the other ones? No, I'm blanking on what I wanted to talk about.
Well, I'm sure it'll come to us once we start talking about RFK and our guy who wants to find out by September the cause of autism, but you have some numbers, statistics.
Just today, he announced that 8-year-olds across the board in the United States, the rate of autism is every 1 in 36. Every 36 kids, one of them will have autism. Mm-hmm. 30, 40 years ago, it was like every 1 in 400. So he gave even more specific numbers and said, out of boys, 8-year-old boys, 1 in every 20. So it's even more common in boys. Man. And then in California specifically, where one of the differences, maybe not the cause, one of the differences is that we have very strict vaccine exemption, like we don't allow them more than any other state. In California, every 12.5, 1 in every 12.5 boys has autism. So 1 in every 20 throughout the country, 1 in 12.5 in California. It's shocking. Right. Not really
there could be a correlation with like vaccines or like cell phone signals. I mean, what are some potential causes that you've discovered?
Well, last podcast we talked about all the silver iodide they're spraying in the air.
Yes, damn it all.
I know RFK Jr. has mentioned chlorine in the water. Mm-hmm. It could be the glyphosates they're spraying on our wheat. It could be all the high fructose corn syrup. It could be the nitrates they put into our meat in order to preserve it. It could be any of the seed oils that we take.
Like olive oil and what? I guess I'm a big olive oil fan.
Great question. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and olive oil is good.
Okay.
It's avocado oil, coconut oil. For the most part, those are fine. Peanut oil, I'm really not sure about, but the really bad ones are vegetable oil, canola oil, things that are, I think even sunflower oil. So the way that they have to process it is that they basically, it's like industrial oil. It's like what we put into our cars. And then they add hexane, which is a toxic substance.
Hexane.
So they add hexane.
Sounds evil.
And then it comes out looking all gross. So then they add another like poison in order to make it the like nice yellow shiny color we see in the stores, where it all looks the same color.
Otherwise it'd be like this tar ugly substance.
So I think like to, just the way that I like to picture it in my head is like, if you're eating avocado oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, you're eating the meat, the fruit. You're eating the fruit pressed down into an oil form. The seed oils, you're eating a tiny seed. And what's inside that tiny seed is like the potential for 100 fruits,
Right.
Hundreds of fruits. So I think because they're so concentrated and we're eating so many at one time by, pressing them all into oil, I think that's what's really getting to our hearts. And that's why heart disease is the number 1 killer in the United States. And I think number 2 is medical malpractice.
Alas, my valiant sliders, this is the end of part 1 of 2 with Jenny Callison that taps Alex Jones. So stay tuned for next week. You'll get the second part. You're going to be able to scratch that itch. But for now, I said good day.